All right, game of the week, Saturday night, number 5, Notre Dame visiting number 2, Ohio State, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on ABC. And there's hype on both sides. Everyone's excited. It's week 1 of college football, but in reality, the spread is 17.5. What we're going to do here in this video today is take a look at each team, preview both teams, and then get into the prediction and see if it's really going to be as good of a game as some people think. Ohio State is the home team, so they will have a large number of fans in that stadium that holds 104,000 people. Tickets are going for $400 for the last row. If you are trying to go to the game or any game, be sure to check out ScoreBIG for all of your football ticket needs. Today's prediction, Notre Dame versus Ohio State, is officially brought to you by ScoreBIG, so check them out. So let's get into the previews for both teams, starting with number 5, Notre Dame. So they have new head coach Marcus Freeman coming in after Brian Kelly left for LSU and somehow developed a Southern accent overnight. That's another story, but Freeman brings in a lot of hype and hopefully getting this Notre Dame program to the top. That's the hopes around South Bend. But anyway, Notre Dame went 11-1 last season in the regular season. Then they lost in the Fiesta Bowl. Jack Cohn is out, and Tyler Buchner will be the starting quarterback for the Irish offense this season. And although you won't see the same kind of throws that Cohn was making last year, Buchner has potential to make explosive plays with his legs. So he should be fun to watch. As far as targets go for Buchner, tight end Michael Mayer will be a big target for him. He caught 71 passes for 840 yards plus 7 touchdowns last season, and he will be going in the first round of the NFL draft next year. The one thing that Notre Dame will need to improve on this year will be the running game. They had their worst season since 2010 last year, so there will be a lot of focus on improving the running game. And then on the flip side, Marcus Freeman is going to preach it, but it's going to be defense. Giving up 37 points like Notre Dame did in the Fiesta Bowl last year will not be good enough to make the college football playoff or make it or even get in and make any noise when they have to play Alabama in the first round. So they do project to be good at every level, but I feel like they project to be good at every level every year, and then we see how that plays out when they play some of these top-ranked teams. So the challenge is right in front of them Saturday night. They get to go up against the number 1 rated offense from a season ago. So let's get into that number 1 rated offense preview. Ohio State Buckeyes coming in with QB CJ Stroud back, and he comes into this season as the preseason favorite to win the Heisman, and for good reason. Here's the crazy stat. In the 2 losses for Ohio State last year, CJ Stroud still averaged 439 passing yards. Let me repeat that. In the 2 losses that Ohio State had last year, CJ Stroud averaged 439 passing yards. That's a crazy stat. Defense, be better. So coming into this year, or still looking back at last year real quick, so he had 3 interceptions in his first 3 games, 1 each. But then as the season went on, he seemed to get more comfortable. Obviously, he was lighting it up, throwing for a ton of yards, but still, he only threw 3 interceptions in his final 9 games of the season. So coming into this year, it's not like we're expecting him to take a leap, but it's more of a lofty expectation of what we are going to see from him, and for good reason. So 2 of his top receivers are on to the NFL with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, but he still has Jackson Smith-Njigba, who had 95 catches and 9 touchdowns last season. And then Trayvon Henderson and Miyan Williams will be able to make plays out of the backfield when they have their number called, but I do think we are going to see a lot of air attack and light it up with CJ Stroud's arm and the receiving core that he has in place, the weapons around him. So look for that. And then on defense, they do have talent at every position. But like we said, if your quarterback is going to throw for 439 yards, you should be winning the goddamn football game. So they allowed 45 points against Utah in the Rose Bowl and 42 points against Michigan in the game that ultimately cost them their playoff berth last year. So going to be some pressure on the defense to be, not tremendously better, just a little better. If your quarterback is throwing for 439 yards, you're probably scoring a lot of points. If your offense is averaging 45 points, 40-plus points a game, you should be winning the game. It's simple as that, especially if you're Ohio State. So look for that. Look for the defense to focus on having a better season this go-around. They do have a couple matchups out there that are circled where, we'll see how this Notre Dame offense is, but I do think there's potential for the defense to have a get-right game out of the gate and then kind of roll with that momentum. So looking at the odds on this game, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, Ohio State is favored by 17.5 points. Over-under is set at 59.5. Let me get my swig before we get into this. Notre Dame versus Ohio State prediction. What's going to happen? The stat that sticks out to me when looking at this matchup is that Notre Dame is 2-13 in their last 15 games against top 10 ranked opponents, not just top 10 ranked opponents. A Notre Dame fan will come out and defend the team and say, yeah, but those losses didn't come by 18 points. Looking at the spread. Hey, and you know what they say? Good teams win, great teams cover. But looking a little deeper, those 13 losses that Notre Dame has suffered in their last 15 games against top 10 opponents, those 13 losses have come by an average of 15.4 points per game. So not far off from where the spread is at. And whether you like it or not, the trends show that Notre Dame cannot hang with the big dogs in recent history. It is what it is. I'm not a Notre Dame hater. I'm sure I'll get a ton of shit from a lot of my buddies who are Notre Dame fans. That's fine. But I'm the kind of guy that rides the trends until a team can prove me wrong. And I know there's a lot of hype on Notre Dame coming into this season and coming into this game Saturday night. But I just don't think they can hang around with the Ohio State offense that is going to light it up. I don't think we're going to see this Notre Dame defense might be good this season, but right off the bat, coming up against an offense that averaged 45 points per game last season, I don't see Notre Dame putting up those kind of points and hanging around. So what am I going to say? Sorry, Notre Dame fans. And I'm not an Ohio State fan either, so don't get it twisted. This is me, strictly an outsider who focuses on the trends, the numbers, and this is what I see. And I just don't think Notre Dame can hang with another big dog, which I do think Ohio State is a big dog, rightfully so, ranked at number 2 coming into the season. So what do we have here? Official prediction, Ohio State wins by 3 scores, 37-17. That's it. If you want to get our best bets for this Saturday, get over to cosports.com/shop. We will have our VIP picks up there, as well as some single game plays that you can get your hands on, whether it's player props, parlays, teasers, team totals, picks against the spread. It's going to be a good weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the prediction. Be sure to tune in to all of our predictions that will be coming up on the Sports Betting Podcast with Kof every single Friday for college football this season. So tune in. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate you watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of your support. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the game. And leave a comment below if you are on YouTube, or leave a review if you're listening to the podcast. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I know what I'm going to hear from you Notre Dame fans and from you Ohio State fans, but let's get the chitter-chatter going. That's what football is all about, being able to entertain each other and talk trash back and forth about each other's teams. So thanks for watching. Until next time.